Hello everybody and welcome back to LMM. Today I'm doing my top 5 road vehicles from my own personal collection. So starting straight off, it's the Reliant RATO. Yes, my little three-wheeler. I've always fancied one of these vehicles in some form or another, whether it was the Robin Supervan, RATO, Robin 2 or the Robin 3. Preferably one of the older ones, and I'm over the moon with my little RATO. To my knowledge, it's one of the few that survive that has the hatchback, the folding down back. Most RATOs have the van-style rear door, so it's a relatively rare survivor, and I had an amazing trip going off to the Lake District in it. Yes, it broke down, but it managed to get home under its own power, and that makes me very happy indeed. It's also one of the few projects that I've got that I started as a broken, non-functional vehicle and restored to being a road-worthy vehicle. And for me, that was a huge accomplishment. Currently, though, it needs a bit of work, but soon you'll see it again on the channel as I cover some of the work that's been happening to it and its eventual return to the road, because it's something I really like buzzing around in. And it does like 70 mpg, which in today's climate is pretty good. It is also the vehicle that I've had the most near misses in, because people just don't see it. It's vaguely beigey, dirty colour, and it just blends in. And I've had more people pull out on me in that thing than I have anything else, and I will tell you, it is terrifying. It's also the kind of vehicle that every corner that you come into, you go, if I muck this up, I'm gonna die. There's no other car that I have that every time I go into a corner, I go, this could go wrong. You really do have to concentrate when you're driving it. Which brings me on to number 4, another car that you really have to concentrate while you're driving in, and that is my MR2. I absolutely adore the MR2, and I think it is one of the greatest cars of all time. It's fun, it's sporty, it looks amazing, it's got pop-ups, and you can daily it. Realistically, you and your mate or your missus or whatever could go away for a weekend in it quite happily. The boot is spacious, there is room in the front. When you put your foot down, it goes, particularly the turbo. The looks of it are fantastic, and it still turns heads today. It's just superb. Of course, it does have that little snap understeer thing and a bad reputation for putting people into ditches and hedges and trees which jump out of you, but it remains an absolutely superb car, and whenever I'm driving one, it just gives me the butterflies. It's such an amazing thing to be heading out in, particularly if I can take the T-tops off, and then I feel like I am some cool person from the 90s. And I appreciate the 90s was a while ago now, but that's what I'm going for. It's peak 90s coolness with the T-tops. And frankly, it's just what I want. And that takes us to number 3. At the complete opposite end of the scale is the Peugeot 106. Now, this isn't particularly fast, it's not particularly sporty, and it's not an amazing looker. That said, though, I do quite like how it looks. I think it's a smart little car. But this was my nan's car, and I have done so many miles in this, put over 100,000 miles on the little thing, and I just love it like it's part of the family. It's a living link back to my nan, so whenever I get into it, I think of her, and I am reminded of the things that we did together in that little car. It's been my faithful companion all over the UK, apart from when it broke down in Scotland. But I absolutely love it. It's a wonderful car for a new driver to get into, yet it's a go-kart. So when you really want to, you just put your foot down and it just winds its way around quite happily. It's a lot easier to have fun in a slow car trying to go fast than in a fast car going slowly. And it's just a car that I can't ever imagine being without. The fact that it's not currently on the road at the moment makes me very sad indeed, particularly as it's a pretty good economy box. Put a bit of petrol in it, and away it will go forevermore, providing that you don't put anybody else in it or any luggage in it. It's one of those cars that when you have 2 or more passengers, you really notice it doesn't go as fast as it once did. You're very aware of that, because it only has a 1.1 that's got 55 horsepower from new. It's not a mighty car, but that thing has done far more than it was ever imagined when it left the factory. And hopefully is another car that you'll be seeing soon enough on the channel. Going on to number 2. Well, number 2 isn't really a car, but it did cost £25. Yes, it's Humpty. without doubt, my single greatest purchase of all time. I absolutely love this machine, more for the fact that it was found as a non-working vehicle and brought it back to the shed, and with minimal amount of effort, it came back into life, which remains one of the absolute highlights of everything I've ever done on the channel. Absolutely amazing. And since then, it's been a really dependable and useful little machine for pulling stuff in and out of the shed, moving things around for my landlord, and just amusing me. And of course, giving me an amazing pain through there when I tried to start it in the snow. Humpty is just one of those machines that was stupid. I had no need for a dump truck. I had no requirements for one, and I didn't need to save it from that garden. But I'm really glad that I did, because I realised I really did need a dump truck. It's fabulous. Single cylinder diesel, hand start, no amenities, and a gearbox that you choose a gear before you start off and then off you trundle. I have had so much fun trundling about on this machine. The idea of taking it and doing a Land's End to John O'Groats is still something very high on my list, but I would need to get it road registered first and sort out the steering, which is like trying to drive a boat on the land, and fix the skip and probably give it some more paint. Okay, so it's a work in process. Which brings us up to number one. Now, of course, you all guessed this, didn't you? My number one is none other than my Dennis RS130. I've had dupes for the longest out of anything bar the 106, and out of absolutely everything in my collection, it is the vehicle that I would keep until my dying breath. I love having it. This machine has given me more grief than the grand total of everything else in the shed, and yet I keep coming back for more. It keeps hurting me, it keeps upsetting me, and it keeps throwing more problems. But I just keep rolling with it because it's a fire engine and it's awesome. And the sound of that Perkins 540 V8 is just so wonderfully addictive. That noise as it roars up as you speed down the roads is just fantastic. It's also got this wonderfully just uneven idle, which when I got it, I thought there was something wrong with it. And it wasn't until I found another one and heard it idling in the same offbeat way, I was like, oh, that's just how it's meant to sound. It's a remarkably strange machine, and a machine that I probably shouldn't have bought. It was indeed running when I picked it up and had loads of issues, which I am now slowly getting on top of. It's that one machine that I can have a bad day, turn up and just take it out somewhere and feel better about life, the universe and everything, until it breaks again. And then everything's awful. But I love it. And I know it's an abusive relationship that I'm in with it, but I absolutely adore it. And the saga with what's going on with it will hopefully be resolved in the next year for you guys. It's one of those things that I needed to get done before I could actually show it with you guys. But it is now pretty much done. So coming up on the next What's Broken Now will be a bit of an update of what's been going on with the trucks. I know no one's seen it for ages. But anyway, those are my top 5 from my own personal fleet. Now, my personal fleet is now at 31, I think. So that's only a very small percentage of everything that I own. And more of it will be coming up on the channel in the near future. So with that, thank you all very much for watching. If you have enjoyed this one, how about clicking up there for the adventure when Jupiter went to a wedding and, well, didn't quite make it, or for, I don't know, something else over there. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time, and there'll be a new What's Broken Now in the new year with, well, some fairly major updates. Ta-ra.